Wow. Well, the most staggering part of this is how much absolute craziness is going on back there.
Well, we couldn't talk to you at a better time. First of all, we are so proud of you. You've obviously been over, fighting, helping Ukraine. And by the way, your book launch, because first of all, it's a must read, but you want to pre-sell 10,000 copies, launch it for the Legion. You're donating 100,000 from the royalties to the work that you're doing. You need 1 million more to buy ambulances and trucks to help support Ukraine. So anyway, proud of you. I'm scared, less about it. I want you to come home. But anyway, let's talk about what's happening here.
Right.
You tweeted 62 days before 1/6. I warned on Real Time that Trump would start a political paramilitary insurgency to seize American democracy. It has begun. I detail the Trump insurgency in my latest book, and it is entitled "They Want to Kill Americans: The Militias, Terrorists, and Deranged Ideology of the Trump Insurgency." I have to get your take right away on what we saw yesterday, Malcolm. Pretty much confirming everything you just said.
Well, that was crazy. I think the only tweet that I make, it's very hard for me to tweet.
Yeah.
We have very limited Wi-Fi, and all I can do is retweet most of the time other people's comments. But the only tweet I put out yesterday was, what the actual F?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trump ordered the magnetometers turned off at the Capitol in order to allow people with guns in the building, knowing that?
He ordered the code red. Here we are.
Right? Oh yeah. Yeah, you're dang right he ordered the code red. I mean, I was hearing, I couldn't get everything all at once. I actually had to watch the recap of Ari Melber and then the special coverage.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is the most crazy thing. I predicted there would be an insurgency. An insurgency is multiple insurrections. And the January 6th insurrection was way more than that. It was a highly involved, detailed plot to overthrow the government of the United States. And he wanted to walk in there onto the floor of the House after they had stopped it like the Grand Poobah and proclaim himself king. Even I couldn't have thought anything that crazy. They would be throwing that script out the door if it was a made-for-TV movie. This is nuts. We are in more grave danger than I even wrote about. And let me tell you, this hearing is the kickoff for them. They don't believe a word of it. They have been arming. They have been preparing. They're talking openly about civil war. And, that book was finished a year ago, Steffi. A year ago. And, publishing being what it is, you couldn't get a print.
And look at, can I say, while you've been over doing, heroes work, really, in Ukraine, look what's happened. Buffalo, all that we've learned about January 6th, what's the title of your book? They Want to Kill Americans. Right? And as you write in this, we're just the synopsis here, the post-2020 election urge to return to a place of normalcy, to forget, is the worst response we can have. American militiamen, terrorists, radicalized political activists are already armed in mass numbers, regularly missed in the media, principally because Trump's most loyal and violent foot soldiers benefit from the ultimate privilege of being white. And there you go.
Yeah, I said this in a hearing just after January 6th. They called me to testify before Congress. And one of the things that I identified was, I said there's a reason they were able to mass on the Capitol, get in there, start pitch lethal battles with the police using spears, American flags as spears, and Trump flags as battering rams. They were able to get close because they had the camouflage of white skin.
Yeah.
That was it. And they were thinking, we're not going to hurt or harm people who are like Donald Trump or ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was part of their strategy, was to close in upon the building and seize the building and proclaim Donald Trump president. I wrote that a year ago, and I could not believe it then, and now I'm finding out it's all true. And this is why people need to buy this book this week. For the next 2 weeks before this launch, because these people are not going to take this lying down. They, as you know, calls for Donald Trump's arrest or indictment or criminality. I still every once in a while get these feeds from the right-wing blogosphere and the right-wing world. They live in a crazy alternate reality where we are armed, rampant militants tearing up the world. And they brag about the number of guns they have. They brag about it. Yeah. And, you know, I'm afraid that by the time that this, you know, we get to book launch on July 12th, they'll have solidified in their heads that they're going to have to do something about the January 6th committee and the people who are investigating it. And, you know, now that they've got their big win in the Supreme Court with Roe versus Wade, they feel empowered that this country is theirs. And, you know, like I wrote in the book, QAnon is back with a, you know, I had written in the book, the QAnon would be the governing ideology of the Republican Party. It's mandatory that you believe that crazy stuff about pedophiles.
And as you always said about January 6th, the violent white supremacist terrorist attack. Just like Buffalo, and Uvalde was another. El Paso meets Sandy Hook. I mean, we are in. I don't even think any of us know how to. As you said, when you're flabbergasted, then we know we're in really dangerous territory. I mean, you've warned about the dangers of full-on civil war for a while now.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm literally here fighting a war. All right, for those. I'm going to finally let it out to all the losers out there and the Russian bots who keep saying that I'm in a 5-star hotel in Poland. I'm on the front, and I have a frontline job, and I carry a weapon, and, you know, this is a battle, and we engage in battles. And then I have to go home, I hit my rack on my pallet or whatever, and I look at the freaking news from the United States, and I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe my own country is on the collision course for an internal split. You know, we're trying to fight for democracy here. And I'm going home for 10 days, and I'm going to have to beg people to defend your own country with your vote.
Yeah. Exactly right. I have a friend from Ukraine, and after Buffalo, she's like, and Uvalde, she's like, we don't understand. You're doing this to yourselves? And I'm like, yes. I mean, and honestly, Malcolm, ever since before Trump Russia, when you've been warning about all this and the Republican Party's involvement, here they are. They're against sending aid to Ukraine, pushing Putin talking points. We are right back where you and I started with Trump Russia before the 2016 election. And now, by the way, a Russian missile, of course, just hit this civilian shopping center over there in, I can't pronounce it. Yes. With over 1,000 people inside the building. As I've said from day one, this is not a war. This is a terrorist attack on a sovereign nation. And what we're talking about on January 6th is a terrorist attack on our nation. I mean, I can't...
That's right. And both...
Yeah, go ahead.
And ours is internal. These people are using the phrase, and when I wrote that book, the phrase civil war. And for most of them, it's a race war. It really is. This is Timothy McVeigh stuff, the reason that he blew up the Oklahoma City bombing. He thought that it would incite an armed white uprising in America and that they would start killing liberals, they would start killing blacks and other people. And, as you know, I'm coming back. That's all I'm going to talk about is the juxtaposition between this war on democracy here to eliminate it in this country, which is democratic, free, you know, and then go to my own home. And these people are clamoring for fascism, you know. And to me, it's like I'm stuck in an alternate universe where, in fact, you know, the United States could become somewhat like where I am with opposing forces. And it terrifies me. It upsets me. It makes me feel ashamed at times. I mean, look, just the simplest thing where, you know, Supreme Court justices turn out to be straight up MFing liars.
Yeah.
And now they take away the rights from an entire class of Americans. And, you know, the Republicans on television were saying the liberals will now start mass murdering people and attacking people. This is their fantasy. Like that guy said, when do we start killing people? Liberals don't do this stuff. But these are the people who have that theme that if you read the book, The Day of the Rope, which is the day they're supposed to go around and start mass murdering Negroes and hanging their white liberal allies. This fantasy has been around since the 50s, and now it's taken on a new life in this country. Look, I'm asking people to buy this book. I don't like to beg, but I need this book at #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. And to do that, I got to get another 8,600 freaking copies sold in the next 2 weeks because so many crazy things have been going on. But I'm telling you, this book is it's going to be your final warning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not joking. It is a warning, and I'm not being hyperbolic about this. I am not being over the top about this. It's quotes from all of the people who were involved in January 6th and beyond.
I read a tweet this morning, Malcolm, there's no such thing as being alarmist anymore. And we joke and call you Shouty McShouterson, but you're right. You've been shouting about this rightfully, and some people just waking up now in the wake of all of this. By the way, I blurbed this book, which is not important, but what's important is Rachel Maddow said Malcolm Nance is one of the great unsung national security geniuses of the modern era. And that's understating it. So
I don't know.
we miss you so much. We have missed your voice so much. I mean, I'm so proud of you, what you're doing. I know what they say. If, Russia stops fighting, there's no more war. If Ukraine stops fighting, there's no more Ukraine. So,
That's right.
God bless you.
Apply that to America right now.
Yeah.
Apply that to America. If this is the most important election in the history of the United States coming up, and let me tell you something, a lot of those people with the guns, they won't care how we vote. But they just reelected Lauren Boebert in her primary.
Yeah.
We have to take this seriously. I'm telling you, 10,000 of you, I've got 1.1 million followers, 10,000 of you, order the book right now. Pre-order it. If you click the link that I just posted on Twitter or the one that you guys have, it'll take you to every outlet that reports to the New York Times. And if this book's #1 in 2 weeks, everyone has to pay attention to this warning.
Yeah.
And we only have a few months before it could go very negative in America.
And some of the money goes to the very cause that Malcolm is fighting with to stand with Ukraine.
I gave most of the advance to the International Legion. I've spent $100,000.
Please.
So I'm not making any money here.
Yeah. Again, so proud, so terrified. Please stay safe. Please come home safe to us. And July, tell me the date again. The book drops?
July 12th.
Okay. All right. And we're going to get you in studio.
See me in LA on the 20th.
Yahoo!
Yeah.
Malcolm Nance back in studio. It's too much. Okay. Maybe we'll just get green screen and reenact the Times Square kiss. And I'll be holding your book while you bend me over. How's that?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sexy librarian with the book instead of a candy striper.
All right. See you, sailor.
You can promise me, hurt me with a good time. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Malcolm.
There he goes. Malcolm Nance.